Viewed that. So what we want to focus on is there's two parts to the multiplication. There's the x times the x plus 1, as well as the plus 4 times the x plus 1. Okay. And so that actually gives us two parts to our answer as well. So we get an x squared, and we have, oops, sorry, I should write that in red. Here from the red multiplication we have an x squared, and we have an x. From the blue multiplication, we have 4 x's and 4 1's. Okay, so we have two parts to our multiplication. Altogether, then, we have to combine x's. So we get x squared plus 5x plus 4. Now, sometimes our x's combine and we have a lower digit, like -5 or a 3. Okay, so we've got to pay attention to the signs of the x. What we're going to do now is we're going to go backwards. So we're going to give you the starting polynomial, and you have to figure out what the two factors are, or the top and the side. Okay. Now, what you got to be careful of is how you arrange the inside. X squareds always go on the top, and they always touch on the corner of the 1 tiles. Now the 1 tiles make a triangle or a square, okay, but they touch in the corner. You'll have some x's on the top and some x's on the side. That's kind of generically how you do it. How you arrange it, you have to be careful of. Today, because it's just 1x squared, it's not that hard. Tomorrow, so not tomorrow, but the next day, we're in like 3x squared or 4x squared. That's going to change things and make it harder. Okay, but for now, it's not too bad. So with tiles, here we have x squared plus 6x plus 8. So I want you to arrange that in here. Okay, what always goes on the top left corner? X squared. Okay, your 1's tiles have to touch this corner. So for the 8, your arrangement for 8 can be 1 by 8, 2 by 4, or 4 by 2. Okay. In fact, you know what? Because it's x squared, it doesn't matter. Or kind of does. Okay. All right. So let's try the 1 by 8. In half, and then in 3, and then in 3. Nope, that's not. Half, half, half. So in half, 4. Okay. So we're using a 1 by 8. Now a lot of this is going to be guess and check. So if we have a 1 by 8, how many x's would we have here at the top? We would have 8x. And then we would have a 1x here. Can we get 1 and 8, 8x and 1x? Can we get that to equal 6x at all? Not at all. So we guessed, but it's not going to work. So we have to change our 1 tiles. So yes, you're going to have to erase these. Go ahead and erase them. It's not a big deal. That's why using the tile pieces are sometimes easier. So let's try a 2 by 4 arrangement. So 2 by 4. Okay. So how many x tiles are we going to have at the top? 4x. How many x tiles would we have on the side? 2x. Now, 2x and 4x, can that somehow get to 6x? Real easily, can't it? That's because it's the easiest question. We would just add them, it'd all be positive. So that's our answer. Okay. So what we do now that we have the arrangement, we got to fill out the top. This would be an x. What would this bottom part be? it would be a 2. Don't forget, okay, how to arrange those. So even though I write 2x and 4x, I then go and make sure I know those should be x's in that direction. What's going to be on the top, Haley? Awesome. Okay. So what we say is x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals what? What are the two factors? X plus 2, x plus 4. Right. Once we get that rectangle and we check our sums, okay, you have to check your x sums. It's easy. Okay, now it's going to get harder and harder because we're going to get 0 pairs and other things. That's kind of the basic part. Questions? It's pretty brand new for us, so no questions? Am I recording this? Oh, good. Okay. Any questions at all? Notice how these x's are in different orientations. These ones are vertical, 4x vertical, 2x horizontal. That makes a difference. Okay? That makes a difference. They are different. And we're going to see why coming up. Well, not quite yet. So now we're on the way. All right? X squared, where should we draw that? Top corner. Okay? Pretty easy. Now the 8, what do you guys think? A 1 by 8 or a 2 by 4 arrangement? 2 by 4, because a lot of you are saying, hey, it's pretty much the same. Nothing. But here, though, we have a 4x. Over here, we'd have a 2x, exactly like up above. But 2x, 4x, how can we get that equal negative 6x? Talk to me, folks. 2, 4, negative 6. Uh-oh, what do we have to do? Say it. What do you have to do? Attender, what do you have to do? Yeah, it's not that hard. Make them negative. And guess what? It's easy to do for us. So we can make this a negative 4x and a negative 2x. Okay. So changing negative to positive is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Altogether, we had negative 6. So what's on the top then? What's our answer? And what's on our side? What do you think, Harge? What goes up top? Good job on the negative. Well done. Let's see if we could trick you up. So, in order to have this negative x's occurring, you have to have these 1 tiles negative. And so you get x minus 4 as a factor. On the side, what do you think? Sierra? Yeah, these ones have to be negative as well. Now, what about your 1 tiles, though? Do 2 negatives multiply to a positive? They do. So you should always double check your multiplications. So here we have x minus 4 times x minus 2. So these here are your factors. Okay, questions? Thumbs up, down in the middle, what would you say? All right, okay, let's continue on then. So, now we have an 8, but now we got a 2. So we have the same amount of 1 tiles. But what do you notice about the 8? It's negative. What's the only way to multiply to a negative number? positive times a negative or negative times a positive. That's the only way. So what we're saying here, draw your 1 tiles again. Shade them up for negative. So this is the same. This will be 4x. This will be 2x. But how are we going to now match 4x and 2x in order for that to equal a plus 2x? What are we going to have to make them? Jared? Which one? Negative 2x, and that's a positive. Okay, so we can write this as negative 2x. Fill it in. Now find the answer on the outside, please. Double check your signs. Does it make sense? See what's cool about your picture? Is that the outside's negative and all the way along it's negative as well. And here we all have positives. Okay? So your pictures are different. This is a different scenario than the other one. Up here, it's important to know, here we have 2 positive numbers. Sorry. This combination gives us 2 negative numbers. Okay. So you multiply to a positive, but you have a negative sum. Okay. Up top, this combination gives us 2 positive numbers. Because you multiply to a positive, but you have a positive sum. Okay, you guys okay with that? We'll be covering this again tomorrow a little bit. Down here, this combination gives us 1 negative, one positive. But looking at the sum, which one's going to be larger? The positive is larger because our sum is positive. So for this question, the answer is x minus 2, negative 2 is small, x plus 4, 4 is large. That's why we're ending up with a positive 2x in the middle. Okay, so what we've got is 0 pairs happening. Okay, so these ones give us 0 pairs. Tricky, because you can't see that. Okay. Try number 4 all by yourself. See what you can do. Very similar to 3, but a little bit different. So, x squared goes on the top left. Then we have negative 8. So they go here. Shade them in. Now you only have a negative 2x, so that's going to probably go in this position right here. And these ones then would be positive 4, right? Does that work out? No, because this result would give me a plus 2x, and that's not what I want. Okay, so I did it backwards. Okay. If I have a minus 2x, this would be the largest x tiles. Okay, the largest number. So that means this here must be all negative. Oh, perfect, thanks. You probably talked about water bottles. I think I need one more set of water bottles. I think they might be out in the change room.
Perfect, let's go right.
Okay. So here we go. Those ones will be positive. So we have plus 2x minus 4x. All together it equals negative 2x. I kind of did this one a little bit differently, did I? I talked about it differently. Okay, so there's a couple different ways to think about this stuff. All together though, out here you have x plus 2. This one here must be x minus 4. So this equals x plus 2 times x minus 4. Those are your two factors. How many people got that? Hands up. Good. Okay, a little bit tougher. So one thing to keep in mind here is don't mix up your positive and negative tiles. Either this section's all negative or it's all positive. You can't have both in one section. So this section always is positive, this one's always all negative. Okay, not always, all. Okay. So let's have a look here. Use algebra tiles, find an integer to replace this square so that each trinomial can be factored. How you make your rectangle is important. So there's x squared. Okay. This one will be a 1 by 6. Or here we have an x squared and 2 by 3. Or here we have an x squared, 1 by 6. And here we have an x squared, and we're going to get a 2 by 3. Okay, so those are different factors of 6, right? 1 by 6 or 2 by 3. But why did I double them up? Any ideas? Up here. See the difference between 1 and 2? This is a plus 8. This is also a plus 8. What's changed though with the sums? One's positive, one's negative. So what we have to be careful of is that we do that. So here we would draw plus 6x. This would be plus x. And so altogether we would have a 7 for the square. But even though that sign is plus in front of it, it doesn't mean it has to be plus. Whoops, sorry, I want to continue with the other one here. So instead of plus 6x, why don't we do minus 6x? And this would be minus x. How many do we have altogether then? Negative 7. So that's plus 7. The other one's negative 7. Okay, find your total x value for the next two. Go. Find your x values for the next two. Cool. So how many different possible answers are there for the square? 4. Now I'm going to show you something new that you've never seen before. We have plus 5 and minus 5. Plus 7 and minus 7. Those are your answers. This is how you write 4 answers. Plus or minus 5, plus or minus 7. Okay, so you haven't seen that before. Now often they call this box the letter K. So I call these K-type questions. Okay. Not a big deal. Okay, next one, -8. Now this is a little bit different. It's negative. Okay, so that means some numbers are going to be positive and one number will be negative. So for 8, you can draw a 1 by 8. So go in the middle again. And you can draw another 1 by 8. Do you guys know why I drew 2 of them? Well, the reason why I drew 2 of them, because here we could have negative 8x, and this could be plus 1x. How much does that give you? Nope. Negative 7x. So on the other one, you can switch around your signs. Okay, so you can switch around your signs for the next drawing. So this would be plus 8x. This would be minus x. Altogether, then you would have, positive 7x. Okay. So that's changing your signs. Now let's change your arrangement of your tiles. So instead of a 1 by 8, what's the other arrangement you could have that would give you 8? 2 by 4. Okay. So draw a 2 by 4. And don't just draw one of them, but draw 2 of them because you can switch your signs. Okay. Go figure out the other integers. So your answers here would be minus 2 and plus 2. So how do we write it properly then? Now, plus or minus 2, comma, plus or minus 7. Notice I try and do the low one first, then the high one. You should go low, right? 2, then 7, rather than 7, then 2. Okay. I'm probably not going to mark it wrong yet. Okay, that's some hard stuff, isn't it? Those are the hardest questions for this section. Okay, doing that guesswork. We call them K questions. You're going to see some of those for sure. At least 2 or 3 on a test. Absolutely. We use them to check that you know how to multiply and factor. Okay. Here, up top is easy because we knew what numbers multiplied to 6. Then we can figure out what we'd add them to. But down below, now what numbers add to 6? 1 and 5 do. That would multiply to 5. What about 2 and 4? They add to 6. How do you think you multiply? So that multiplies to 8. 3 and 4 and 5 and. But are those the only numbers that add to 6? What about negative 1 and 7? You're messing up your negative 2 and negative 3 and awesome. So there's another pair downstairs though, right?
I can find it.
Oh, Farley just said that there was some down.
Those ones that were in his room, we couldn't find any in the locker room.
Whatever else, I got something to film up. All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Good luck in your game.
Thank you. Negative 3 and 9. Like, we could continue forever here. All right, so they have to give you more information in order to get that question right. So they're probably going to give you some possible answers, and you guess and check. All right? So there's many possibilities. Now what they might do is they might tell you that the numbers would be positive. And you know how they tell you that the numbers are positive? They would say that they're an integer that is greater than 0. They use a greater than 0 concept. Okay, so you have to be careful with that stuff.